Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I've gone for a bit of a drive out to Greensboro, just helping a mate out with some worm farms. That's what these two here are. So today we're going to be talking about vermi composting and setting up these two worm farms. Tell you the truth, it's the most organic fertilizer that you're going to get, without all the organic arguments that come with organic gardening. Worm farms are just really good due to the simple fact of you can feed all your kitchen scraps straight to the worms and they will love it, they will eat it. Try your best to steer clear of the more starchy foods, potatoes and all that sort of stuff. Steer clear of really acidic foods, so all your citrus foods all gone. Onions out the window as well. We basically want to keep it as nice and veggie-ish, if we can put it like that, as we can. Due to the simple fact of a lot of the onions and a lot of the other foods that we've just mentioned will actually raise the pH level or drown the pH level. Either way, the worms really like a very neutral thing. Okay, so what we're going to need today is, well, we've obviously got our worm farms, which my mate went out and bought on eBay, was it? Yeah, eBay. Fairly cheap. How much was this round one? 40 bucks. How much was this square one? Free? Beautiful. 2 for 40 bucks. Can't really go wrong. He's adamant on building 2, and I agree with him. I like the whole idea of 2. It's just, you can keep the flow going, you can keep the worm tea coming out on a lot more regular basis. So we've got these two here. We're going to need a bucket of water, just lukewarm water will do it. This is called garden soil, so it's koi or core. I'm not too sure how to say that. C-O-I-R. One day I'll learn it. So this is going to be the bedding for the worms. This is what the worms are actually going to live in. They also like to eat it, so they're going to be happy as pigs in shit. And what we're going to do is we're going to take about half of this out. We're going to put it in the water. The water's going to soak it all up, and then it's going to expand, and it's going to take probably about 15-20 minutes to do. So that's a very first thing that we're going to do today. So we might just get that done now. So crack it open. Okay, so we're just going to pull this stuff apart, this koi or whatever it's called, and just straight into the water. Okay, just pull it apart as best as you can. Probably better off just chucking the whole thing in the water. That might be the better option. Yeah, we're going to use all this, so chuck it all in. As you can see, the bucket's just a little bit too big, but we'll figure that out later. So this rectangular worm farm, it's actually a worm cafe. It actually came with a whole heap of this peat or core stuff. I still can't say the name. It already came in it, so that's awesome. So we don't have to spend so much money on trying to deck out the two of them together, because we've got plenty of bedding here, plus the stuff that we've already made before, or that we're making now. It's now soaking. So no, this looks really nice. It's got a lot of worm castings in it, and that'll be the blacker, sort of the darker sort of stuff. That'll be worm. Oh, there's a millipede, centipede thing. You can just go. I'll try and keep as many bugs out, especially the predator bugs. But yeah, what we're going to do with this is we're going to transfer some of this into the round one. Then we're going to put some fresh stuff on top of both of them, and then we're going to lay the worms into it. And then we're going to make another level. That'll be the food level. So in a nutshell, your bottom level will always be the catcher. It catches all the water. You'll generally have a little tap in there that you put a bucket under. That gives you the worm tea. Now, worm tea is the urine, I guess, the best way to put it. From the actual worms, plus at the same time, you know, the water that we're pouring into it is actually diluting the worm poos. Bit of a mixture of both. Just make sure that when you go to actually use it, make sure you dilute it. I'll do a video on that one, but for now we're just setting it up, and we'll do another video later on how to keep them fed and how to keep them looked after. So for now I'm just going to swap from one to the other, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now that we've got the worm bedding all sorted out for their bottom level, which is what they're going to sleep in, we're now going to add the worms. So these worms, I've only got the one bucket, which is 1,000 worms, so we're going to put them between the two. So yes, it is a little undercutting, however, these guys are going to flourish, and it's a long-term thing that my mate wants, so not a short-term thing. So 2 will be more than enough, and this 1,000 will be 5,000 like next year. So these are the worms that we got. I went and just picked it all up from Brown's Worms down in Crib Point. Also gives us all a bit of information. This is actually who the bloke is, so gives a bit of information. Got little stickers. That's alright. Let me dig through. This is horse manure in a nutshell. It's just he cleans it all up very nicely and gets rid of all the seeds. So I'm just going to dig through. We're just going to have a quick look at some of these worms. And as you can see, the first handful that comes out, they are just absolutely everywhere. Teeming with life. Break it open a little bit. Nice healthy adults. Some nice juveniles. So it's going to look really, really good. So Brown's Worms, they charged us $30 for 1,000 worms. And so far, from what I've been digging through, looks like we're getting our money's worth so far. There we go, just trying to crawl away. Hey buddy, get back in there, get out of the sunlight. So this is something that we're going to keep in there as a bedding. They'll eat through all that and turn that into delicious fertilizer, and our plants will thank us for it. Now we're just going to break them up, gently break them up, just a little bit here and there, just to sort of flatten it all out. So we don't want to be too rough with them. They are live pets or live animals, so whether they feel pain or not, I'm not too sure, but I sure as hell do. It's just handful after handful of awesome worms. Just absolutely everywhere. I don't know if you guys can see that. So here we are, pretty much finished with the bottom layer. This is going to be their bedding. This is where they're going to live. Worms will stick to the bottom layer, and then they'll actually come up for food. So our next layer that we're going to put on top, that's going to have all the food in it that they're going to want. It's kind of like a bit of a breakfast buffet thing. They'll come up, they'll eat, they'll go back down, go to sleep, come back up, eat, go back down, go to sleep. Sort of see where I'm coming from. So now that the first level's done, we're gonna fill up the second level with a bit of this core, whatever it is, you know, coir. It's been sitting around for about 10-15 minutes, so it's nice and gooey. That's awesome. The worms are gonna absolutely love this. So I'm just gonna fill this up. Alright, so if you have a bit of a look, you'll see these little edges that poke out. That's what the next shelf will actually sit on. So because we're only going to go too high at the moment, we're going to leave it at about this height, because by the time we put some paper and some food into it, that'll bring it up quite nicely. Alright. So as you can see, we've actually gone and put some cardboard and some paper on top. This is for 2 reasons. A, it stops the evaporation of the water that's already in the worm farm. So paper will catch it and absorb it. And B, the carbon. These guys need their carbon, and the only way for them to get their carbon is through paper, or dried leaf litter. I prefer the whole paper because I love to shred bills. You know, you pay them, you shred them, you feel good. So yeah, you just got to wet them in and keep them nice and wet. At the moment, I've only just sort of wetted them down just that little bit. I'm waiting for the water to soak right through before I do anything else. And then I'm going to move them into their area, which will be a nice shaded part of the garden. And then that'll be our job done. So now that we're all finished, we've actually decided to throw these 2 little worm farms out underneath the trees in the back of the garden. Bushy trees will keep it nice and cool, and so therefore we don't have to worry about them overheating. However, come summertime, we will have to check it out though. If it gets a little bit too hot, there are ways of cooling them down. You can just put mesh straight over the top, that way the heat just exhausts itself. Or you can actually go as far as to put frozen bottles of water into the top of it, and of course the cold goodness will just float straight down towards the bottom and hence cool everything down. But we'll leave that for another month or two, because we're still a long way off all that nice warm weather. We've stuck the square ones on a stand, because we did not actually come with legs. And there's one thing that I must tell you, is to sort of angle the whole box down towards the front of the tap. Due to the simple fact of, if you have a look at this one on our right, the square one, you'll see that the tap's about 1 centimetre off the bottom. So if we have that level, then unfortunately we're going to have dramas with a full centimetre's worth of water being down the bottom, and worms can drown, so not good. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and it helps you guys out to set yourself up your own little worm farm and your own little endless supply of fertilizer.